We have the Travelers Championship ahead of us, and let's dive right in with some of the DK Sportsbook odds, because you have DraftKings' own Bryson DeChambeau, who is the favorite at plus 1,200. He's a guy who was in the mix there until late at the U.S. Open. How you feeling about him?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about Bryson. I mean, you have to think that you're just watching from an optics standpoint that you maybe don't like the back nine collapse kind of that happened there. But, the fact is his game was good enough to get himself in contention with 9 holes to go at a U.S. Open. This is a guy that probably isn't that far off from winning again. And we've seen Bryson be a pretty prolific winner on the PGA since the restart happened. He's got 3 wins on the PGA and 22 starts since the COVID-19 restart from last summer. He's got 3 top 10s at the Travelers in his last 10 starts. These are pretty fair odds, if we're being honest, at plus 1,200. And you have guys like Dustin and Brooks in the field as well. So maybe, they seem like, well, should Dustin really be this big a favorite? I kind of think he should be. I think these are very good odds. If anything, I would say these might even be a little bit high for Bryson. This guy's a very good POA putter as well. I'll just end with that. But I think Bryson can get hot enough with the putter here. And I know this is a bit of a shorter venue, but do not be shocked if this guy shows up and looks for a little bit of just personal redemption after that back 9.
Okay, so in your mind, Bryson DeChambeau, the odds just a little bit too high. What about Paul Casey at plus 1,800? Too high or too low?
Yeah, I mean, another player who Casey had a really good U.S. Open. I mean, T7, another top 10 at a major, his second top 10 in a major in a row. He's also T4 at the PGA. This guy is just absolutely hammering his approaches right now. Plus 4.4 strokes on approach at the U.S. Open. He was plus 8 strokes at the PGA. I'm going to say these odds are just a little bit low, though. And the thing is, I mentioned Bryson's win rate. We just don't see the same kind of win rate with Paul Casey. He has a lot of top 10s. He's got a lot of great finishes. He just doesn't win at the same rate as the other elite players. And that's why typically you see Paul Casey, at a major, he's 40 to 1 instead of 20 to 1. But now we've got him at 18 to 1 or plus 1,800 because he's got such good course history at the Travelers. This is a guy who lost in a playoff at the Travelers to Bubba Watson in 2015, finished T2 in 2018. He loves this course, don't get me wrong, but the win rate for Paul Casey just isn't there for me to make these odds low enough. It's not that far off. If he was plus 2,000, plus 2,200, probably a different story. But at plus 1,800, I think these odds are just a little bit too low.
How about Patrick Reed? He is plus 2,200, so 22 to 1.
Yeah, kind of a similar story there with Patrick Reed. I mean, he just doesn't really. He obviously wins at a higher rate than Paul Casey. He doesn't really have the course history that Casey does. He's been okay. He was okay at the U.S. Open T19. He had some good iron shots. Like he hit his approaches pretty well at the U.S. Open, but he wasn't as consistent off the tee as someone like Casey. So, I look at Patrick Reed. He's never really that bad a target in the outright betting market because he does kind of tend to pick up 1 or 2 wins every season. But, plus 2,200, maybe just like a little bit off. And you've got guys like Casey, playing a little bit better than him, who I'd probably be more inclined to pick at this range over Reed. I think Patrick Reed's just a little bit underpriced or overpriced here, I guess. He's a little bit too low in the odds for me. I would rather see him closer to plus 3,000 if I was going to take a shot on him here.
All right, well, even longer odds than that. Let's talk about Abraham Ancer plus 3,500. How do you feel about him?
Ancer to me is more in the sweet spot here. This is more of the guys we want to be targeting. Again, he's over plus 3,000 in the odds. We've seen Ancer at events and over the past month. He's been much shorter than this in similar fields, plus 2,500, plus 2,800. He missed the cut last week at the U.S. Open. Not really that big a deal. He's coming into this event now rested. He didn't have to play tough Torrey Pines twice over the weekend. And you look at what he did at the U.S. Open. He gained over 5 strokes on his approach. His irons were fine. He just wasn't that good off the tee, and he really struggled on and around the greens. Putting can be rectified over the course of a week. Absolutely. Guys can get hot with the putter. We've seen Ancer putt very well over the last couple months. It's not something I'm worried about. Because he missed the cut, though, we're getting a little bit better juice here in the odds. We're getting more value in the odds, and I think these odds are actually a little bit too high on Ancer, a guy who's been all over leaderboards. He sets up well for this course. He's not that big off the tee, but TPC River Highlands, not a long course, well under 7,000 yards. I like this setup for Ancer. I love these odds. I think these are way too high for him, to be frank.
All right, too high or too low as we start to get into longer odds, much longer odds at Harris English, plus 5,000. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, these do seem a little high too. You know, a guy coming in after he had one of the best rounds on Sunday at the U.S. Open, finished in 4th place, his second straight top 5 at the U.S. Open. Now, I mean, Harris English, we've seen have trouble closing out tournaments in the past, but this is also a player with 3 PGA Tour wins. Little surprised here. I mean, if I like Abraham Ancer at plus 3,500, I pretty much have to like the odds on Harris English here. I mean, this is a player who already has a win on the season. We've seen him be extremely consistent with the putter. And look, one thing you do have to do around TPC River Highlands is sink your putts, because everyone's going to hit the fairways here. These are easy to hit greens, easy to hit fairways, which is good for Harris English because he does tend to spray it a little bit off the tee. But English can get hot with that putter. If he stays hot with the putter after last week, he can get it done. I think the only thing to worry about is just a little bit of fatigue after, being in contention, so to speak, on Sunday. But look, plus 5,000, again, I mean, this is kind of discounting how good a player Harris English is, in my opinion. So a little bit too high for me as well.
One more for you. That's Justin Rose, plus 5,500. Too high or too low?
Yeah, these are too low. I mean, what is the people's fascination with Justin Rose? The dude shot plus $1 million last week. Now, I get it. This is a veteran player. He had a bad week. He started off poorly. He wasn't going to make the cut, so it's not that big a deal. But Justin Rose has been all over the place over the past year and a half. I mean, he pops up every now and then with a top 10 or something, gets in contention, kind of teases us. Then he just goes away. And there's been, like, he withdrew with a back injury in the Florida swing. So, plus 5,500. I guess it's not like a horrible price, but for me, it's too low. I still feel like Justin Rose is just getting some kind of veteran, bump here just because, he's a former major winner. I don't really think it's recognizing kind of how poorly and how inconsistent he's played. So for me, these ones are too low.